You know what? The temperature's cooling down and the day is getting shorter. I have noticed the figs that I'm picking aren't quite as tasty as the ones were in the summer. Um, but nonetheless, I still have some ripening. I've got some. So last week we set an all-time record. I bet you a lot of people in the South did, but where I'm at here in Florida, we got an overnight low down to 33 degrees, and the next night it got down to 36 degrees. Just briefly, though, for maybe an hour or two. But that shattered an all-time record by 7 degrees. Absolutely shattered it. So it's extraordinarily early for this time of the year to get that cold. I mean, the previous record for this time of the year was 40 for the overnight low, so that shattered it. And some of them did get a little bit of frostbite. You can see the leaves there. There's another BNR. I'm thinking some of these, there's just not enough heat and daylight left in the day and the season here for these to finish ripening. And I've noticed even the ones that do get ripe, they just kind of lack that flavor. I think they just ripen in like too coolish, even though it's actually a beautiful day today, and it has been for a while. Look at this Grease Day St. Jean, just Pac-Man. I typically don't have. Wow, that actually looks really good inside. I typically don't have a splitting problem, but I have noticed that in the cooler temperatures, I don't know, maybe a fig is a little more flexible when it's hot, and when they're cooler, they crack because they don't want to expand. I don't know, it's kind of weird, but I've noticed in the last few weeks that I had a few figs split. This is a Campanary. Love this thing. No figs on it this year. I'm going to chop it back. Get some nice scaffolding going on it here, along with a lot of other trees are going to get chopped back. This is a Pasquale. It didn't really break any records growing this year, but it's had some nice growth on it. And of course, I've got 2 branches, so that kind of impacts it. I mean, if I didn't have 2 and just left it with 1, it would be bigger, of course. But supposedly a really good fig, and it's a late season fig, like supposedly one of the, if not the latest ripening fig. So all of these trees right through here are first year trees. This is a very recently planted Calderona. It was an air layer, so it's probably been in the ground 3 weeks, maybe pushing a month. So looking forward to having that Calderona. I've got 2 more Calderonas on in my side orchard. This is Bass's favorite fig, and wow, it's one of my favorite too. It's so good. But look at this. I don't know if you'd be able to really see this on camera, how damn big this fig is getting right here. It's just huge. I hope there's enough heat left here that'll turn out to be a really good tasting fig. But this little tree, it's maybe 36 inches tall. I have had probably 10, maybe 12 amazingly delicious figs of like this size off this little tree. So it's very productive and amazing. I mean, it's, for me, it's definitely a top 5 fig for me, as is Calderona. And a lot of people say they're the same, but this is Black Tuscan, and it's still got a couple of figs on it. But I was amazed that, you hear Black Tuscan, actually, it's a Black Madeira variety, much like Figo Preto, Violetta, and I don't Craven's Craving. The thing is, though, this is a cutting that I got from Harvey, and his cutting seemed. I mean, he has to cut them fairly late in the year, like I would, like January, February. By the time you get his fig cuttings, it's like late March, even April, and then you got to root them. It's like, I got to get them out. So I actually really hurried on this cutting, hurried and rooted it, and planted it in the ground way too early. I mean, way too early. It it survived and it grew damn well. I mean, this thing's probably 5 feet tall, and this is from a rooted cutting this year, and it produced so many amazingly good figs. I now know why people rave about, Black Madeira and Figo Preto, Craven's Craving. They're just phenomenal. This is another like top 5 fig for me. Black Tuscan. It's amazing. This is a Violet de Bordeaux. Um, this crazy little thing was half the size of a toothpick when I bought it last year as a tissue culture. I could not believe how small it was. I was pretty upset. I think it was cheap, but nonetheless, it was so little. It was absurd. Tiny little tissue culture, half the size of a toothpick, but it it didn't grow all that much last year. By the end of the year, by like October, November last year, it was probably about 12 inches tall. And I decided to come plant it out here. I mean, it was late. It was November when I stuck it in the ground out here. And about a month and a half later, it went dormant. They only go dormant from about mid-January through the end of February. So, and then they're snapping back out of it because the temperature's warming back up. So it did go briefly dormant, but then, damn, did it come back with a vengeance. I mean, this thing's over 6 feet tall, and I've pinched this so many times just to slow it down. You can see, like, way down there, I pinched it, and it's got these 3 branches coming off, and it just kept going, and I pinched it again right there, and these branches just took off, and I pinched it again right there. Hell, I could have used to pinch it again up there again, but this thing is just insanely vigorous. It really didn't start getting any figs on it, which I'm kind of surprised because I've heard, I don't know if it's really true or not, but if you were to start a fig tree from a seed, it would take about 3 years, like minimum, before that seed tree would get any figs on it. And I've heard when you do the tissue culture, it sets it back to day 0 as if it's like a seed plant. I don't know if that's necessarily true because, like I said, I got this tiny thing last year, and so this, I guess, would be year 2 for this. And it does. I mean, it's got actually, not a lot, but it started getting loaded with figs. But it was so late in the year that it started that I'm pretty certain that I'm not going to get any on this. But next year, I'm certain I'm going to get a boatload off of this Violet de Bordeaux. I've got a couple of figs over here in the pot that they were like, both of them were not what I ordered. It was a nursery on the West Coast. I ordered a Martinique Ramada and a Panache for these pots out here. And it turned out this is not a Martinique Ramada, it's a white Adriatic. And I don't know if this is a Panache. It's a reverted Panache. I have compared leaves and stuff, and I mean, it could be a Panache, but it's reverted. It's got just straight up green figs, no striping on them, and they turn really a dark purple. It's delicious. I don't know what it is, so I'm assuming it's a reverted Panache. It's kind of a bummer. Either way, no, it's still good. They're both really good. A white Adriatic's good, and so is the that Panache, even if it is reverted. This I have got a few figs off of this, which is, some people say it's the same. I don't know if it is the same, but it's very very similar to a Violet de Bordeaux. I mean, probably it could be the same. It's called Nero 600M, and I did get a few figs off of this year, and it was excellent, really good. I was surprised. This little guy here, it's somewhat new. Um, it's a Craven's Craving. I planted this. It's somewhat recently planted, a month and a half, 2 months ago. It took off and it grew about 2 inches, and then it just stopped, and it hasn't done anything since. It could just be cooler days and shorter days at that. Sunlight. This is Socorro Black. It's got this crazy looking branching structure on it. It's my weeping Socorro Black. It's got a pretty nice structure to it, and that's all kind of naturally how it's grown. It's kind of funky looking, but it's cool. I mean, it's got nice spreading on it, so I may not really have to do a lot of severe pruning to shape this. It's just kind of growing out in a nice shape. This one, however, this is a Colyedon Noir. Look at that ridiculous thing. It got pounded by fungus this year, and it had a hell of a time keeping leaves on it. It's crazy, and it was the first. Almost all of these, with the exception like this row right here, most of the figs in this row were planted like last year. I've got some that were planted like a couple of years ago back in there. But the rest of these figs all through here in the back of my yard here are first year rooted cuttings. I do have some first year rooted cuttings seeded in because I cull stuff. I mean, if I don't like the tree or if it's not performing well, I don't really have a lot of patience. I'll just yank it out and put something better in, something different. But this Colyedon Noir had a hard time keeping leaves on this year, but it grew so tall. So it's gonna get chopped way back, like right about there. All of that's going, create some cuttings out of it, I guess. Um, but I think next year, I mean, it was a good lesson learned for me here in Florida is just staying on top of fungus. You don't ever want to get behind the curve on it, so it's better just be constantly preventive as much as possible. That's a Ronde de Bordeaux. It's done really well. It's got a nice branching structure on it. It too is going to get a pretty severe pruning this year. It's going to be a major shaping year, in terms of pruning, because all my trees are very young. And you can see these like whips, like long, tall whips. There's that, fig growing theory that some have that say, in your first year, just let them do their thing. Don't pinch them, just let them grow tall. And then come wintertime, you're just going to chop it off fairly low at like maybe 32 or 36 inches. Just chop it off. All that's going, right? You can chop it up and make cuttings out of it or something like that. But that way you start out with a nice heavy trunk on your tree. And then from that trunk, you're going to build your scaffolding branches off in the directions that you want them. And then you have the structure on your tree to actually carry a whole bunch of figs. So that's, in a lot of ways, that's what I'm doing with many of these trees here. This is Smith. And it's done really well. It's got a nice fat trunk on it. This one, I used to have a Joie Rouge planted here, and it was the sickliest tree I ever had. I could not keep that thing healthy, no matter what. I mean, I don't know what it suffered from. I'm sure fig mosaic virus was at least one of them, but I got tired of dealing with it, so I yanked it out and put this as a Vertle de Oriola, which is the same fig as De La Senora hibernaca. Different name, with all the synonyms in the fig world can be maddening. This big tree here is a Colyedon bordeaux. And you know what? I think I'd have to almost add this to my top 5 list of favorite figs that I've got too. I've got 55 different varieties of figs. Um, 61 trees. I've got some duplicates. Like I've got 3 Calderonas. I've got 2 Bordeaux Negro Ramadas, that kind of stuff. But this tree, um, it's one of my favorites for a couple of reasons. One is how extraordinarily vigorous this tree is. I mean, I cut it back to like 3 feet right there this spring, and it is now, I don't even know how tall that thing is. It's at least 11 feet tall, but it produced a boatload of figs this year. And I do like Smith. It's right there by my dog. It too created a lot of figs this year, and they are delicious. Everybody knows Smith figs are really good. And the thing I think I like about the Smith fig is how rich it is, right, in its flavor. It's the only word I can really think about it. Got a very rich flavor. But this Bordeaux in a side-by-side comparison, both my wife and I, not even knowing, just taste one and tell you which one you like better. We both prefer this Bordeaux um, and both for the same reason. The berry flavor on this Bordeaux it's very pronounced. It's an excellent flavor. It's not like overly sweet or rich. Something where you feel like if you had 2 of those Smith figs like you've done, that kind of richness, like oof. But these are just straight up berry. Excellent, excellent. Love that tree. This is a Verdino del Nord. It's also known as Figoan or Figwin. It's a good fig. It creates these little figs, like probably 10 to 20 gram, tiny little figs, but they have a really excellent flavor to them. More flavor out of that little fig than you would think. It's really good. But this is another little Calderona that I've got in the ground. Hopefully it'll get good and established and get the roots going. This is Colonel Littman's Black Cross. Has lost almost all of its leaves. I mean, it is getting somewhat late. Today is November 17th. I think it's supposed to be 81 today. It's nice out. And it is. It's odd. So even though it's lost most of its leaves, it's still putting out some new leaves on the end of a couple of the branches. The rest of them appear like they're just ready for night, you know? Which is okay. So this is the only fig that I got on this tree. I planted this thing almost exactly a year ago. I think it was late October last year when I stuck this one in the ground. So it's been in the ground about a year, and it was a small rooted cutting, and it's got quite a base on it now, and it's got some nice branching on it. I'm really looking forward to next year on this one, because I think next year I will be getting some figs on this. Colonel Littman's Black Cross is one of those figs that it's kind of finicky with its producing figs. Like, I think it's not typical really to get figs your first year. It's one of those that takes 2 or 3 here in some cases, but they'll come. You have to be patient. It's supposedly much worth your while. So looking forward to that. This tree is Adriatic JH. It's so funny because you look at that, it's got a sizable trunk, right? And it's big. It's got branches all over the place. And then you look at this. This is green ischia. Considerably smaller. But at the end of last fall, before they went dormant, this tree was considerably bigger than the Adriatic JH. But like when they woke up out of dormancy, this thing just took off. The Adriatic JH, I mean, exploded. it put on at least twice as much growth as the green ischia here right next to it. They both put on a lot of figs, but compared to the green ischia, my God, look, still all the figs on this thing. The problem now is with no leaves on it, the figs just kind of stop ripening. So I may just end up picking those and just disposing of them. I don't want to be dropping figs. In fact, I see a couple on the ground right there. My dogs usually take care of them. They love figs. So, what that, buddy? Get that fig. That looks like he was working on one. He might have got out of the tree right there. Yeah. This is a Nordy barbantane. As you can tell, it's a fairly new tree as well. I've had this maybe in the ground a month and a half, maybe 2 months. It's put on quite a bit of growth, and I hope next year when it comes out of dormancy, it'll just like take off. It's supposedly a really good fig. Nordy barbantane is very much like people say it's very rich. A lot of people compare it to the flavor of like a black Madeira type fig. I'll find out. That little tree right there, that is Bourgeois Noir, which a lot of people say the Bourgeois Noir and the Nordy barbantane might be the same fig. If not, they're very, very close. Okay, so that was a green ischia. This thing, it's really the only multi-trunked fig that I've got. It's quite sizable. It's this is white Marseille. And it's a really good fig. The crazy thing is, I'm not really a fan of Breba, and I don't try to grow the figs for their Breba. But man, this one had some Breba on it this spring. Even after I had like given it a good trimming, it still had some Breba down low. But those Breba were so good that it's really making me second guess whether I even want to prune this white Marseille this year. Because if I don't go and prune the heck out of it, I'm going to get a lot of Breba on it. I'm talking, they were excellent. I only have 2 non-berry fig trees out of all my trees, and this is one of them, the white Marseille. And then there's this one too, this Olympian right here. This thing, by the way, is just like, I don't know, it's got to be one of my favorite trees. It is just indestructible. I mean, I've hacked heck out of this thing. I've tried to turn it into a Frankenfig. I've done all kinds of things to it, but it always just rebounds every year amazingly well, and it puts out just an immense number of figs. I mean, there's still figs on here that probably won't ripen, and this is the second main crop that it's put out this year. But my wife and I have probably easily eaten 150, maybe 200 figs off of that thing. This is a Joual Noir. I used to have a Joual Rouge over there, but it's gone. But this thing too has it got hit by some fungus, kind of knocked it back a little bit. First year rooted cutting. I think it'll rebound and do just fine. Okay, so this is a Ponta Tressa. It was a rooted cutting that I had planted really late. In fact, I think I put this in the ground in November last year. And it really didn't grow at all. It just sat there with the same 2 leaves it had on it. But I was hoping at least under the ground it was doing some root growing. And it must have, because come springtime, this thing just took off. And it's now, yeah, it's probably 6 feet tall. It's got some branching going on it. It's kind of nice how these branches just naturally are almost perfectly off-center from each other. I thought about, rather than just doing the chop at like 32 or 36, I may just take this the tip out, like right here. Take that top out And that'll leave me with this nice branching structure. And then, of course, take that branch off of there too. Pontatresses, supposedly a good Adriatic-ish style fig. This thing, it's funny, it's Chicago hardy. A lazy tree. It's funny, I think one of the things that makes it so hardy is it's one of the last trees to wake up in the spring, and it's one of the first to go to bed in the fall. You know, so it's going to avoid those kind of frosts. But it's a good fig. It really is. It's got a good berry flavor to it. So it's one of those kind of must-have figs that'll do well for just about everyone, no matter where you are. This is a Genovese Nero AF. It got hit by some frost. I was telling you, we got down to 33. It's kind of funny how some figs show frost damage, whereas most of my other ones don't show any at all. I don't know if, you know, some figs are more cold hardy in that sense of like frost. They can take a little colder temperatures without like showing it in their leaves. This tall thing is pretty much a defoliated I-258. It got really tall, and it's gonna get a low chop back here. So that'll just make a bunch of cuttings. This pretty little tree almost didn't make it this year. It got hit by a fungus called anthracnose. Absolutely destroyed it. I thought about taking it out of the ground at one point because it had no green left on it, and it's a Tia Pena. But it has actually come back really nice. Looking for better things for it next year. It started out really strong. I was looking forward to it, but yeah, it got hit hard. It's one of those lessons I learned this year. This is Sasak. It too has had its struggles with fungus. I've had to cut off a few branches. The fungus in particular, it's called anthracnose. And I don't know if it's like all over the country, but it's definitely here in Florida. And it likes the wet, humid areas just like Florida. So I bet you they have it in areas like, you know, Mississippi and Louisiana and Alabama, and it's pretty bad though. Unlike just killing your leaf, it will kill an entire branch on your fig tree. It's pretty bad. Okay, so this is another Calderona, recently planted. It's been in the ground maybe a month, maybe. And this crazy tall skinny thing is 5 Terra A. It had put out a bunch of figs. I mean, all the way up this tree it had figs. Little ones though. But like none of them ripened. They just stayed in that like static state the entire time. I ended up just taking them all off. I had read though that this, like, there's probably quite a few fig trees that fall into that. And one of those, like, don't evaluate it its first year because you'll be disappointed. But you give it that second year and you're like, dang, glad I kept it. And I kind of feel like that way this year. I'm pretty unhappy with it. Just grew long stick. I don't. We'll see next year. Looking forward to next year on pretty much all of these. This is a little violet sapor. A lot of people say it's the same as Bourgeois Grice. Maybe. We'll see. This thing is, I don't know, it's kind of struggled. It's been in the ground almost a year, and yet it's still just like maybe not even 2 feet tall, maybe just at 2 feet tall. I think it's got a touch of fig mosaic virus it's trying to get over. We'll see how it does next year. This tree is De La Gloria. I actually have 2 of these. I kind of need to get rid of one of them. Not that I don't like having 2 of them. It's just the one where the other one's planted. I want to put a persimmon tree there, a fuyu. This is a San Miguel Rojo Roxo. Same fig that's also called Azores Dark. It's rooted cutting. It's done well. I actually think I do, even though this is a first year tree, and that Chicago Hardy was a second year tree. I still think the figs on this San Miguel Roxo tasted better. Had like a more pronounced berry flavor. I may just end up someday turning that Chicago Hardy into a big grafting platform, create a big old Frankenfig out of it. Because this, I think this San Miguel Roxo does a perfect job of, replacing it, and you still get that good Mount Etna fig. This is Borzazot Grice. It's done really well, actually, and surprisingly, this thing, like of all my trees, well, this one and that one next to it, you look at them and they're just like beautiful. Look at the leaves on this thing. They seem to have dodged much of the fungus that just raged through my orchard this year. I don't know why. I don't think Borzazot Grice is really known to be. I've heard people complain about it just suffering badly, but yeah. So this Borzazot Grice looks really good. It's got a few figs on it, but it's first year. I don't think they're going to ripen. This is Borzazot or Coldydom Grice. So Borzazot Grice, Coldydom Grice. This one it did get some frostbite. You can see here, but otherwise it's been a very healthy and active, vigorous tree. And I've had a number of really tasty figs off it in its first year. It's quite a good grower. I like that one, Coldydom Grice. This is Hativ de Argenteuil. Believe it or not, at one point this thing was 6 feet tall, but you can see where I had to like cut it off because it got that anthracnose fungus on. So if it gets on a branch, it will kill where it's infected. From that point on upward, it dies, right? So if you happen with these long tall whips, if it happens to infect down low on the branch, like everything from there up dies on your tree. So I literally had like 5 feet of my Hativ de Argenteuil die. This anthracnose doesn't really infect like well lignified wood. It really wants to infect when it's still green or just starting to lignify. They seem vulnerable at that state, but once they lignify, I think they appear to not be bothered by it. So I had to cut it back. It's got some nice branching, and because it was like 6 feet tall, I know it's got some good roots down there in the ground. So come spring, it should just rebound strong. This little tree here is Cosme Magno. It grew well, but like so many other ones, it's just the leaves just constantly were getting hit by fungus. But I do spray copper fungicide. I think I may try just doing an inner like every other spray, do like a sulfur spray, and then the next time I spray, do a copper fungicide, try to mix it up a little bit, see if that helps. But Cosme Magno is supposedly an excellent fig, and it did a nice little job of branching right here at the top, and I think it's short enough that I don't know if I'm going to do the old chop on this one. I think it's doing a well enough job, like establishing some branches. I don't know though. I may still want to cut it lower. We'll see. This is De La Roca. It's quite tall. It's over 6 feet tall. It's got a couple of big branches on it because earlier this year we had a big windstorm and it just blew like the top 16, 18 inches out of this tree, snapped it off, and therefore it branched out and created these two big branches. But yeah, De La Roca, even though it grew well, it didn't create any figs its first year here for me. It's a rooted cutting, so this thing's definitely going to get chopped back, right there. Like this poor thing. This is Ondata. Um, this thing was probably pushing 8 feet tall. It was taller than that stick right there. But unfortunately, it too got a got that anthracnose infection on the main stem right here. And in fact, it was about a 2-inch section. You could see it almost looks like when it gets in more advanced stages, it almost looks like charcoal. It's black, it's crinkly and crispy. But what happens? It impacts the internal plumbing of the branch, and so water and nutrients can't flow anymore because it like clogs it up where it gets infected, and everything from where it gets infected up just dies. I should have probably, I mean, when I saw the infection there, I treated it as soon as I could. And at that point, I should have taken some cuttings off the top before it died. But I tried to recoup it. It didn't work. It's all right. It'll be okay. This is a pretty little Figo Preto. This thing got planted maybe a month ago. So it's a pretty little tree. Figo Preto is in that same family along with Black Madeira, Madeira Island Black Tuscan. There's Raven's Craving. This is Estorante, and it's a fairly young tree. I'm looking forward to it next year. The figs on this thing just look amazing. They're like yellow, but they're like squat round and just dark red inside. They look so delicious. This is Del San Jamagran. I've got 2 of these. I've got one planted over at the entrance of my gate on the other side of the house. This is supposedly an excellent fig. Looking forward to getting some off of this. Del San Jamagran means from St. James the Great in Catalan. This is another little De La Gloria that I'm going to dig up and, I don't know, do something with it. Because I've got a fuyu here in a pot here in the shade because I don't want it to come out of dormancy. It was shipped dormant, and I'm afraid if I go plant it right now, it'll pop out of dormancy and start growing right before it goes back into dormancy. So I'm holding off planting it and keeping it here at the side of the house in the shade. And then when the time comes, I'm going to dig up this little De La Gloria and put that little Fuyu persimmon in here. And I don't let my trees get crazy big. This Fuyu persimmon tree is going to be kept about, well, same with my figs. They're not going to be kept, I'll try to keep these things like 8 feet high by about 6 to 8 feet wide. And my backyard will be quite full at that point. But I'm not growing trees that are going to be, 15, 20 feet tall. I want to be able to reach up and grab my fruit. So even that Fuyu persimmon is going to be kept relatively small. Okay, so let's see this last row here. This is white Adriatic. It is insanely vigorous. I mean, it might be the most vigorous tree that I've got. And wow, it creates like huge figs. White Adriatic, it's one of those, it's the old school Adriatic that used to be grown, probably still is in some areas of California, but it was that commercial fig grown in California, which is probably where the whole Adriatic term came from, is from this tree right here. The figs are huge though. I mean, I've got a number of, quote Adriatics, like the Adriatic JH and the green Ischia. I mean, quote real Adriatics, but And this thing gets, the white Adriatic fig is way bigger than those. It's good too. It's yummy. It's got kind of a what do you call it? A little cavity in the center of it. It's filled with honey. This is white Madeira #1. It's grown really well too. These are all first year cuttings. Got a couple of nice branches on it there, but yeah, like all the others, it's going to get chopped back. This is Galicia Negra. Kind of funky looking because I did just about a week ago have to cut the top of that off because it had anthracnose on it. It's almost, you almost cannot, at some point, by the time I think it's noticeable, it's too late. You can't really remedy it. I mean, you can't like put some antifungal stuff on it and have it go away and heal up. It seems like at that point it's too late, and the best thing to do is just remove it and get it the heck out of your yard before it starts sporulating itself, you know. This is a Coleodon Citat. And like so many other my trees, it did also, see where I had to cut it off here, it was probably 5-6 feet tall. So it did also suffer, but it has nice strong roots, and it's going to make a good strong comeback in the springtime. Let's see, I'm almost done here. I've got, this is a Coleodon Blanc. It's done really well. Got probably a dozen really good figs off of this one this year, and it's a first year rooted cutting. I planted most of these in middle of March last year. So they've actually grown quite well, like just for year one, right? So this is Coleodon Mutante. I didn't get any figs off of this one this year. Not even little baby figlets on it. Mutante is supposedly just, it's a mutation of Coleodon Noir, which is that really tall one I had way back there I was showing you. It's an excellent fig. And then this one here is Coleodon Gigantina. And it is said to be, at least taste, you know, flavor-wise, the fig the same as Coleodon Blanc, but it's just larger than Coleodon Blanc. The figs are, in some cases, they can be substantially larger. And I did get quite a few ripe figs off of this tree, and it is really good, really good. And then last here, this is, nope, actually I missed one. This is a Boriquar. I bought this just a couple of months ago, maybe not even that long, and put it in this pot here on the porch, and it just took off. It's growing really well. I think the one thing I missed, it's in a spot that I never really think about. It's one I got cutting from Harvey. That's one leaf left on it. This is Popone. It's a striped fig from Elba Island in Italy. So I think that that is the roundup on the figs. It's November 17th. Typically, like last year, I didn't have any leaves fall off until mid-January, so I may still have another month or two before these things lose their leaves. So I hope you all have a great day, and thanks for watching. If you like these videos, please take time to give a thumbs up, comment, or subscribe. I appreciate it. Thank you so much.